Hi, I'm Tim Ard. Welcome to the workshop. I'm part of Forest Applications Training Incorporated. My wife Laura and I, we travel around sea to shining sea, basically working with cities, counties, state, tree care, logging, disaster cleanup groups, about anyone who operates chainsaws. Been doing it for quite a number of years. My background started off right out of high school in about '75, working on chainsaws and lawnmowers at a little shop in Hiram, Georgia. And the gentleman I was working for passed away, and one of the distributors picked me up, and I went to work for them, and they had Lombard chainsaws. And so I went over to that business, and I started off working in their shop and managing parts in a warehouse, and ended up, while I was there, Steel had hired a gentleman named Soren Erickson. Soren had a company that was sold out to Electrolux, and he came to the United States basically working as a consultant to companies like Westvaco, Union Camp, Scott Paper, and he consulted to Steel doing different demonstrations and training projects. Put together a training organization for Husqvarna out of Charlotte, and my wife Laura and I, they licensed out my company, and we started that. And so my background all comes from training, and I hope I can pass some of that knowledge and information along to you. Kind of going through a little bit of things like personal protective equipment, looking at the sharpening process with chainsaws, how important that is. Also taking a look at reactive forces, kickback and other reactive forces with the chainsaw. Then we're going to look at reduced downtime. It's a maintenance system that needs to be observed by any operator, and then also understanding how the chainsaw should run. Get a couple planning processes when it comes to standing trees for felling, as well as horizontal or hung trees. So we're going to finish up with that, and then that'll tie into the next sessions, which will be hands-on later on. So I appreciate you, and hopefully that you pick up something that you may be able to follow up and use. First thing I want you to ask a little bit of a question. What is an accident? What is safety? How would you explain safety to somebody? Talk about here has to do with some of the OSHA standards from the 1910-266 chainsaw standard with the Z133 ANSI standard, which OSHA is kind of adopted for tree care and utility, that type of thing. First of all, I really don't care what the rules are. I always try to abide by whatever they come up with. But you know, I really don't care what the rules are. But the important thing is, why are the rules there? 50 to 55 degrees, it does that peeling action of the chip. So the depth gauge, the point, the side, the top, and the chisel. Now, if we could look back to the middle of the round file is a flat file. So here I can hold that up and make a few strokes to get the damage off the tooth, continue rolling back down, and the last couple strokes against the tooth in front was really in the air. As he cut through the material, he might have pulled back and could have possibly caught the tip. Make sure that you clean all of that out. And I always tell people, I say, you know, it's amazing. I have been told it's about 450 degrees is the average bar and chain temperature. That's how it's lubricated. So it continues down this port and into the crankcase. And a very light, that tree is going to do what we need it to do. If not, we need to make sure that we revisit our plan, revisit our equipment to make it happen. So that's the felling plan. In other words, if I have a 6-foot bucket on the Bobcat, I don't want to cut them 6.5 feet long. If I've got a 10-foot trailer, I don't want to cut it to be 12 and 15 feet. If I've got a 24-inch fireplace, I don't need it to be 30 inches long. And I sure don't want too small of pieces either. So I have a good plan on what size I'm going to cut this stuff. Some of it I've got to hedge down here, 90-degree corner, go 45 off of it. You'll get an even release of pressure. It can happen quickly, but it's still an even release. Over the years, a lot of textbooks stated to make a series of shallow cuts along the outer radius. But an offset cut or straight cut can be used to remove the pressure from that particular situation. When I get to see you next time, we see how this works in standing trees and horizontal trees to be able to put our plans to action.